में हम इमीडिएटली हमारे टेक्निकल सेशन की तरफ आगे बढ़ते हैं। बिमल जैन सर, आप सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ, मुझे आवाज आ रही है, आपको आ रही है?
जी जी जी, आपकी आवाज आ रही है सर। सर बहुत बहुत स्वागत सर आपका। और आपने सुबह मेरी बात हो रही थी आपकी, आपने पूछा था कितने रजिस्ट्रेशंस हो गए हैं, तो मैंने आपको बताया था कि उस समय तक 200 करीब थे। और बड़ी खुशी हो रही है सर, वी हैव क्रॉस 400 मार्क्स सर, आपको ये बताते हुए। तो हम इंडियंस आखिरी मोमेंट पे टारगेट अचीव कर ही लेते हैं सर। तो विदाउट टेकिंग द टाइम, मैं एक छोटा सा बहुत शॉर्ट में बिमल जैन सर के बारे में पढ़ के हमारे मेंबर्स को बताना चाहूंगा कि सर आप एफसीए, एफसीएस एंड एलएलबी तीनों हैं और 21 इयर्स का आपका एक्सपीरियंस है जीएसटी, सर्विस टैक्स, एक्साइज, कस्टम एंड अदर इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन मैटर्स के ऊपर। आप चेयरमैन है इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स कमिटी ऑफ पीएचडी चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स, और आपने कई सारी किताबें भी लिखी हैं। आप 1994 में सीए बने, उसके बाद आपने कंपनी सेक्रेटरी एंड यू हैव बीन द मेंबर ऑफ आईसीएसआई फ्रॉम 2006 अलोंग विद द बैचलर डिग्री ऑफ लॉ। एंड आपने बहुत सारी जगह पे अपनी सेवाएं दी हैं, जैसे आप रहे हैं मेंटर, रहे हैं इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स कमेटी के, आप चेयरमैन रहे हैं कॉर्पोरेट एडवाइजरी कमेटी के, आप मेंबर रहे हैं इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स कमेटी ऑफ एसोकैम फिक्की के, आप स्पेशल इनवाइटी रहे हैं इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स कमेटी ऑफ आईसीआई एंड आईसीएसआई के, और आपको बेस्ट पार्टिसिपेंट अवार्ड भी मिल चुका है एमएसओपी 117th बैच ऑफ आईसीएसआई। एंड आपको यंग अचीवर्स अवार्ड मिल चुका है इग्नाइटिंग माइंड्स 2015 के, आपको बेस्ट स्पीकर का अवार्ड मिल चुका है एनआईआरसी में। और मुझे आपके बारे में जितना भी कहूंगा मैं कम रहेगा। मैं बिलासपुर में आपको सुना था सर, मैं एक लाइन बोल करके आपको सीधे आगे हैंडओवर करूंगा कि आपने कहा था कि मैं स्लाइड्स की जरूरत नहीं है, आप मुझे सुनिए, आप मुझे देखिए, आपकी 10,000 की फीस को 2 लाख कैसे करना है मैं ये आपको बताऊंगा। तो बहुत बहुत स्वागत सर आपका। मैं आपको आगे मंच हैंडओवर करता हूं फॉर योर डेलिब्रेशन सर।
Respected Ranu ma'am, Commissioner SGST Chhattisgarh, respected Central Council member ICAI, Rajendra ji, Chairman Indirect Tax Committee, Kamiksha Soni ma'am, and हमारे सुशील गोयल जी, Co-Chairman GST Indirect Tax Committee, Kishore ji, Chairman Raipur Branch, Ravi ji, Secretary Raipur Branch, and all the distinguished managing committee members, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. The topic which is given to me is a very interesting one. Cross-charge versus ISD. There are two concepts. What is cross-charge and what is ISD? I will explain you this example with one of the good example where I will do the interplay of registration, place of supply, cross-charge, ISD, and GST credit. There will be 5 subject matter in one example where I will do the interplay. And I will request all the participants to participate. From my side, as I normally do, I never make PowerPoint presentation. I always want you to get connected with the topic. Cross-charge versus ISD, and second topic which is given to me, services by employee to the employer versus employer to the employee. So we will discuss these two components at length for 1 hour duration assigned to me. I will try to make best of it. I will take 3 case studies in my total deliberation. And in 3 case studies, I will try to explain everything to all the participants who are attending this indirect tax GST refreshers course. Let me start with the example first so that you can start and you can start thinking from those lines. I've said I'm including 5 technical topic in one example: cross-charge, ISD, registration, place of supply, and input tax credit. So look at the beauty of this example, which I'm sure you'd be liking. And I would be looking for the answer in a chat box. Whenever I'm posting query, you must be responding back. That's what I'm looking at. Let's say I'm a chartered accountant firm registered in Raipur. I'm a chartered accountant firm registered in Raipur. and my firm name is Bimal Jain and Associates. I got one contract from a company registered in Raipur only. Let's say XYZ Limited. It's a company registered in Raipur. I got a contract from XYZ Limited for undertaking stock audit of 2 manufacturing locations of this XYZ Limited. Their head office in Raipur, registered in Raipur, and they have given me a contract in Raipur. Bimalji, you have to undertake stock audit for 2 factory locations, one at Bombay, one at Delhi location. So 2 locations you have to undertake. Now in this given situation, I'm creating certain situation and would be looking for the answer, which I would look at the answer from your side. I have 2 options. As a chartered accountant, what I can do, I can send my 4-person team from Raipur to Mumbai and to Delhi factory location of my client. This is the one option available to me. And second option could be, instead of sending team from Raipur, I would be asking, because my firm is also having branch at Mumbai location and at Delhi location also. So instead of sending my team all the way from Raipur to Mumbai or Raipur to Delhi, I will request my Mumbai branch to undertake this stock audit of the factory Mumbai, and Delhi branch to undertake stock audit of Delhi factory location of the client. I've given you both the situation. Let me go one after another, and then I will discuss with you ISD versus cross charge. If I'm sending my team from Raipur location, 4-person designated team, going from Raipur to Mumbai and Raipur to Delhi, client factory in Mumbai and Delhi. Having conducted the stock audit at the respective factory, Mumbai and Delhi, my team has come back. Now the question is, this Bimal Jain and Associate has to raise the invoice to XYZ Limited in Raipur. But in Raipur, I haven't done anything. I have not executed anything except I got a contract. Privity of contract was XYZ Limited, Raipur location, head office with Bimal Jain and Associate, Raipur location. So in this given situation, the first question would be coming, Bimal Jain Associate will raise the invoice to XYZ Limited. Now, can I raise direct invoice to Mumbai client location or Delhi client location? To my mind, it can be done provided I got a separate contract. I can do billing from Raipur to Mumbai, Raipur to Delhi, provided I'm having separate contract from Mumbai and Delhi. I was not having any separate contract. I got a contract from XYZ Limited head office registered in Raipur. So as per the privity of contract, Bimal Jain and Associate will raise invoice from Raipur location to XYZ Limited, Raipur location. So what would be the treatment, whether transaction would be intra or inter? That would be the next question. So for determining intra and inter, we have principle, golden principle, and that's what we need to keep to our mind. 2 factors we have to look into: location of supplier and place of supply. In the given case, location of supplier Bimal Jain and Associate is Chhattisgarh, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. What is place of supply? When you go back to section 12, subsection 2 of IGST Act, for B2B transaction, place of supply would be location of recipient, which is again Raipur. So I need to raise invoice with CGST and SGST to XYZ Limited registered in Raipur. So I charge CGST and SGST. There are two questions now coming. The first question, whether XYZ Limited can take credit, because this particular GST is being charged for the provision of services rendered in Mumbai and Delhi location. First question. Second question, if credit is available, whether XYZ Limited Raipur can hold back this credit. This was pertaining to their recipient unit in Mumbai and Delhi under same PAN number, same permanent account number. So answering both the things to you. In this case, XYZ Limited Raipur can take credit only when they are ISD registered, Input Service Distributor registered. So what is ISD? Under section 2, subsection 61 of CGST Act. ISD means the Office of Supplier of Goods or Services, and they are receiving invoice for input services, which is meant for their other unit under same PAN number, Mumbai and Delhi. So this XYZ Limited can take credit provided they are ISD registered, Input Service Distributor registered. Am I clear? And then whatever CGST, SGST charged by Bimal Jain and Associate, that can be distributed to their respective recipient unit, Mumbai and Delhi, in proportion of their utilization or turnover ratio. So this was the first part of the story. Now coming back, I'm changing the transaction. Now instead of sending my team from Raipur, all the way Raipur to Mumbai and Raipur to Delhi, what I decided, let this stock audit of client location in Mumbai to be done by my branch in Mumbai. So Bimal Jain and Associate is having branch in Mumbai. So instead of sending my team all the way from Raipur to Mumbai or Delhi, I'm asking my respective branch in Mumbai and Delhi to undertake and do this stock audit of the client location. So they have done the activity. Now report is being submitted to Raipur. And then I'm going to submit final report to XYZ Limited. As privity of contract, Bimal Jain and Associate, Raipur, with XYZ Limited registered in Raipur. So in second case also, it is the invoice to be raised by Bimal Jain and Associate, Raipur, to XYZ Limited, Raipur, unless there is a separate contract. Separate contract means the client location of Mumbai is giving contract to Mumbai branch and Delhi client location giving contract to Delhi branch. They haven't done that. Only at the centralized contract which is being given from XYZ Limited to Raipur, privity of contract only between Raipur, Bimal Jain and Associate to XYZ Limited Raipur, invoice would be CGST and SGST. Distribution of credit as a ISD registration will follow as I guided and sounded. But one change in this second scenario. Since Bimal Jain and Associate, Raipur has not undertaken the service. What they have done, they have asked Mumbai branch to provide the services to Mumbai client location. Do you think that Mumbai branch of Bimal Jain and Associate has given any service to the head office Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur. Similarly, Delhi branch of Bimal Jain and Associate has given any service to Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur, I'm sure would be thinking, yes, there was supply of services. Supply of services between distinct person, even though without consideration. Schedule 1, entry 2. What is Schedule 1, entry 2 says? Supply of goods or services between related person or distinct person in the course of furtherance of business, even though without consideration, right? Even though without consideration, GST leviable. So answer is, now my Mumbai branch and Delhi branch will raise the invoice for supply of service. And this is called cross charge. This is called cross charge to Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur. And Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur will take the credit. So my question goes to you, when Mumbai location and Delhi location branch of Bimal Jain and Associate raising invoice to Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur, tell me transaction would be intra or inter? Please tell me, transaction would be intra or inter? This transaction would be inter and IGST leviable. Appreciate, all the members are answering correctly. IGST, of which Bimal Jain and Associate will take the credit in Raipur. And then they will use this credit. They will use this credit for raising invoice to XYZ Limited, Raipur, right? And XYZ Limited need to have ISD registration for distribution of credit to the Mumbai and Delhi factory location of XYZ Limited. So in this example, I discuss 5 components. What are those 5 components? The first component was registration. Where we need to take registration? We need to take registration from the state where from we are supplying goods or services. Raipur, Bimal Jain and Associate. Then for Mumbai and Delhi branch, they are also supplying services. So they would be registered in Maharashtra and Delhi location. Clear? Second aspect pertaining to place of supply. Place of supply would be location of recipient. It is falling under section 12 subsection 2. B2B transaction. Location of recipient. Third, ISD. XYZ Limited is doing nothing. They have given the contract to Bimal Jain and Associate in Raipur. So XYZ Limited is not doing anything except taking the input services which is utilized by the recipient unit in Mumbai and Delhi location. So they are ISD registered, input service distributor registered. Now when I'm saying so, let me clarify pertaining to ISD. My first question, which is being asked number of times, that whether XYZ Limited registered in Raipur can raise the invoice as a cross charge and not as a ISD. This is the biggest question in the country. Whether XYZ Limited, Raipur registered, they are doing nothing except taking input services which is utilized by Mumbai and Delhi recipient unit. Can they raise cross-charge invoice? My first answer to all of you. There is one silver lining difference and which you must keep to your mind. Cross-charge invoice is possible when there is element of service by XYZ Limited Raipur to XYZ Limited Mumbai and Delhi as a distinct person location. There has to be element of service. ISD is what? I'm registering my head office, procuring input services, taking the credit of same, and then distributing this credit to my recipient unit. Now, a lot of question may be asked. So I clarified, I really find there's difference between cross-charge and ISD. Hope you understood it. Cross-charge was existing in this transaction when Mumbai branch, Delhi branch of Bimal Jain and Associate, they have raised the invoice to Bimal Jain and Associate Raipur. That was cross-charge, supply of service between distinct person in the course of furtherance of business, even without consideration. That was the case of cross-charge. So within one example, I have explained the concept of cross-charge, and cross-charge exists only when there is element of service. There is element of service. ISD is doing nothing. It is only taking input services and then distributing the credit in a proportion of utilization or turnover ratio. Hope you got it. And credit mechanism, credit availment, also I have clarified to all of you. Now, some of the point pertaining to ISD. First, whether ISD concept is applicable only on input services, not on input. So some participants have sent to me that if I purchase the fax machine in my head office location, which is ISD registered, can I really avail credit in ISD registration? Answer is big no. ISD concept is applicable only for the input services. First part. Second part, do you require to take ISD registration in the instant example? And can there be dispute if you don't take ISD registration? To my mind, ISD and cross-charge are two distinct concepts. ISD registration is a must under Section 24 of CGST Act. How to distribute credit from XYZ Limited, Raipur, to XYZ Limited, distinct person, Mumbai and Delhi? Need to raise invoice under Rule 54, and that ISD invoice to be raised by Raipur location to Mumbai and to Delhi location. And this invoice, which is raised by ISD Raipur, would be the eligible document to avail credit under Rule 36, Sub-Rule 1. What is the manner of distribution? How to be distributed? There is a fundamental provided in terms of Section 20 of CGST Act. What is that fundamental? Listen very carefully. The first stage, credit distributed by ISD should be up to, meaning thereby should not exceed. So whatever GST paid by ISD, that can only be distributed to the recipient unit. Second, there would be eligible and ineligible. Ineligible means there are certain GST paid by ISD, which is falling under Section 17, subsection 5, ineligible credit. So what ISD will do? For ISD, they have to distribute both eligible credit also and ineligible credit also. In what ratio? If it is related to particular unit, then it should be distributed to particular unit. If it is related to some of the units out of total unit, then it should be distributed to some of the unit out of total unit, depending on the utilization or turnover ratio, which is called pro rata. Pro rata. If it is related to all unit, which ISD is having under same PAN number, then it should be distributed to all the recipient unit in a pro rata manner. Let me take one more example and check answer from you. Let's say I got 50 lakh rupees credit, ISD credit with me, 50 lakh rupees. And I'm having 4 recipient unit in 4 different state. I'm having 4 recipient unit in 4 different state with a total of 20 crore, 10 crore, 10 crore and 10 crore, meaning thereby 50 crore. So I was having 50 lakh rupees credit. I'm having 4 unit having total turnover 50 crore in the ratio of 2:1:1:1:1. Out of 50 lakh, 10 lakh rupees credit was mainly pertaining to unit A. Unit A. Only 40 lakh rupees credit was a common credit. I'm looking for the answer. Can you give me in a chat box in a very small manner how the 50 lakh would be divided? Tell me how the 50 lakh would be divided to all the 4 unit. 20 lakh to unit A, Rupesh is correct, and balance 40 lakh to be distributed in a pro rata manner. Perfect. That is what the answer. Now, next component. If ISD and recipient is in the same state, if ISD and recipient is in the same state, so ISD is having, let's say, CGST and SGST credit, and recipient units are in same state, it can be distributed as CGST and SGST. If IGST credit is there, then both are in same state, then IGST credits should be distributed as IGST. And second, when ISD unit and recipient unit in 2 different state, then CGST, SGST credit lying with the ISD must be distributed as IGST, and IGST credits should be distributed as IGST. One challenge which is there in ISD and which I'm asking you, let's say you're registered XYZ Limited in Raipur, right? There's some reverse charge liability. Can you really pay reverse charge liability from ISD registration, input service distributor registration? Can you pay that? Say yes or no. Say yes or no. Can you pay that? You can't pay that. And for that, you have to take normal registration. And then you have to distribute this credit to ISD. For further distribution. So this was mainly on ISD, focusing on ISD. Let's discuss now cross-charge at length. Second topic of the day, cross-charge, my second example. Cross-charge, as you know, as per entry 2, schedule 1. What is entry 2, schedule 1? Supply of goods or services between related person or distinct person in the course of furtherance of business without consideration is a deemed supply. GST leviable. Second part. Let's say I'm a company and I was having two factory in the state of Chhattisgarh in pre-GST era. So one at Bilaspur, one at Raipur. In pre-GST, I was having 2 central excise number, separate central excise number for these 2 factories within same state. But post-GST, I was given option that I can have 1 GST number and no need of separate registration for Raipur factory and Bilaspur factory. I can have only 1 registration. Though option was available to me that I could have taken separate registration on the basis of business vertical. Now, this business vertical concept got changed from 1st of February 2019. Now, even on different place of business, I can take separate registration. So let's assume a situation. I took one registration, including both factory in one registration. Now I'm stock transferring goods from Raipur to Bilaspur or Bilaspur to Raipur in one registration. Tell me GST leviable. Tell me in the chat box, GST leviable. Tell me in chat box, GST leviable. Sri Ram GST not leviable. They are not distinct person unless they are separately registered. So most of the participants gave the right answer. No GST unless they are separately registered. All right. Now, carrying with the same example, let's say I was having two factory, one in Raipur, one in Mumbai, two factory, having two separate registration in pre-GST under central excise. Can I take one registration for two factory in two different locations, two different state? Tell me, is it possible? It's not possible. It's not possible. We have to take separate registration. And when I take separate registration, in terms of section 25 subsection 4, we become distinct person. And then if I'm stock transferring goods from Raipur to Mumbai or Mumbai to Raipur, even without consideration, GST leviable. Now, only problem which I want to discuss with all of you. See, stock transfer for goods, pre-GST, that can be transferred against Form F. And there was nothing like a VAT liability or CST liability. In GST, now it is being cleared that if supply of goods happening between distinct person, even without consideration, GST leviable. So stock transfer of goods, GST leviable. Next question comes valuation. What should be the valuation? So let's say from Raipur, I want to stock transfer to my Mumbai location, I know that cost of production at Raipur is 70. Cost of production at Raipur is 70. And the same product I'm selling at 100 rupees as such. Same product I'm selling as such from Mumbai location at 100 rupees. Can you give me the answer? What is the valuation I can pick up in terms of Rule 28 of CGST Rule 2017? Can you give me some example? Can you tell me what is the price I should pick up from Raipur to Mumbai? Okay. So at the most I got 70, 77. Piyush Gupta saying it may be transferred at any value. Okay. At any amount charged, CACB Suryam. Okay. Listen carefully now. Prachi is saying 100 rupees. Listen. There are two proviso. In Rule 28. And believe me, today, the point which I'm giving it to you, it would be little eye-opener. And credit is available. Vinod Dagaji, credit is available. Just listen very carefully. There are two proviso. The first proviso says Raipur can stock transfer goods to Mumbai at 90%, 90, of selling price of Mumbai if Mumbai is selling the goods as such. So as per the first proviso, it is being stated that Raipur can pick up 90 rupees, 90, for stock transferring goods from Raipur to Mumbai. because Mumbai is selling the goods as such with no value addition. This is the first proviso. But second proviso is very, very interesting. Second proviso of Rule 28 says, when recipient unit is entitled for ITC, input tax credit, अगर recipient unit को input tax credit मिलेगा, तो supplier can take and show any value in the invoice, and that value would be considered deemed open market value. Deemed open market value. Meaning thereby, अगर मुंबई को क्रेडिट मिलेगा तो सप्लायर रायपुर कोई भी प्राइस डाल सकता है, 70 रुपए, 77 रुपए, 100 रुपए, and even ₹1. Even ₹1. Question will come, sir, kindly clarify the concept. If I take ₹1, why I should take ₹1? Because my cost of production is 70. My cost of production is ₹70. Listen very carefully. And I'm asking Uma Satish, please be with me. That stock transfer concept is not there. Now it's a tax invoice to be generated by Raipur to Mumbai. Listen carefully on cost. If I take ₹1, then what happened? Raipur will charge GST on ₹1. Mumbai will get credit to the extent of ₹1. And if they are selling at 100 rupees, meaning thereby on 99 rupees, they will pay GST as a value addition. And GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Ultimately, whatever price you wanted to pick up from Raipur was not that relevant, because goods are going to Mumbai, destined to Mumbai, going to consume in Mumbai. So Maharashtra must get GST on 100 rupees. So if you pick ₹1, 70, 77, 99, 100, and charge GST from Raipur to Mumbai, to that extent Mumbai will get credit, right? And they can adjust only that credit with their output tax liability. So ultimately, this proviso 2 of Rule 28 has gone for debate. There is one advanced ruling in the case of Specs Makers India Private Limited in Tamil Nadu. An issue was, when first proviso say that 90% of selling price of recipient unit to be taken up for selling the goods as such, whether proviso 2, which is talking about any value as a deemed open market value, when recipient unit is entitled for ITC, can be taken up. This was the issue, right? Appellate authority, first advanced ruling authority said, no, you can't pick up second proviso of Rule 28. But appellate authority, advanced ruling, in the case of Specs Makers India Private Limited, has agreed that irrespective of fact, the first proviso, you can pick up the second proviso of Rule 28 and put any price as a basis for stock transferring, which is nothing but a tax invoice raise supply of goods to Mumbai location, and that would be considered deemed open market value. Now, Piyush is saying, but there is opposite advanced ruling, similar issue in case of GKB lens. Piyush, I am not agreeing with the GKB lens. Why? For simple reason, there's a concept, value addition tax. Value addition tax, which I told you. So Ganesh Krishnan is saying, why taxing stock transfer? Then why taxing stock transfer? Ganesh ji, very simple. It is 3 years now. You should not ask why now. It's 3 years old now. As per entry 2, schedule 1, this is deemed supply, even without consideration. GST leviable. Rajesh Mittal saying any price means, can it be more than MRP? Let it be. But you need to make sure this credit going to be accumulated at the recipient unit. This credit going to be accumulated in the recipient unit. And then this recipient unit going to use only to the extent of sell. So Rajesh Mittalji said to you, now come back. Now come back. Now listen carefully. Piyush, listen carefully now. Don't divert yourself. Listen carefully now. Stock transfer of goods, understandable. Problem lies only with the supply of services. Do we have given a thought that there is stock transfer for services? Let's assume a situation, and I'm giving you the situation. My head office in Raipur. And in my head office, my CEO, my CFO, my common HR team, accounts team, IT team sitting at Raipur, head office. My branch location is Mumbai and Delhi. By any sort of imagination, do you think that Raipur is supplying services, business support, consultancy, management consultancy to Mumbai and Delhi location? Do you think by any stretch of imagination that Raipur HO is supplying services, business support, management support from HO to Mumbai branch and Delhi branch? There is one advanced ruling, Columbia Asia Hospital. Advanced ruling upheld by Appellate Authority advanced ruling. Now this matter is sub judice before Karnataka High Court. Now, what happened in this Columbia Asia Hospital case? It is being concluded that HO, where CEO, CFO, common HR, IT, accounts team is sitting, they are supplying services to their branch in Mumbai and Delhi. Deemed supply in terms of entry to schedule 1. So you should not have doubt. This is deemed supply. Second question was the valuation. What should be the valuation? So chargeability exists. Since it is in kind, no consideration, we have to adopt valuation as provided under Rule 28. Rule 28 says, Vimal, either you take open market value, like, kind and quality, 110% of cost of provision, or residue method, with two proviso. For goods, 90% selling price, and where recipient unit is entitled, take any value that would be deemed open market value. So now, there is deemed supply. For valuation sake, if my Mumbai and Delhi location recipient unit is entitled for availing credit, then Raipur HO can pick up any value that would be deemed open market value in terms of Rule 28 for chargeability of GST. Now the biggest question which I'm posting to all of you. Let's assume we are into exempted sector like hospital, healthcare, education. Let's assume. So HO giving services to Mumbai and Delhi, and we are into healthcare and we are into education, exempted. Supply of service we have concluded exists. deemed supply, what would be the valuation? There are 2 points which is debated at length in the market. 2 points. The first point, do we require to include salary cost of CEO, CFO, common HR, IT, accounts team sitting at HO? क्या मुझे इनकी सैलरी को टोटल कॉस्ट में ऐड करना चाहिए? और ये क्वेश्चन क्यों आता है? दिस क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फॉर सिंपल रीजन that recipient unit will not get credit when we talk about exempted supplies. Then you cannot apply the second proviso of Rule 28. So you can't pick up any value. Then you have to take some value, and that should be realistic value at arm's length. At arm's length. So HO की जो वैल्यू होगी, टोटल कॉस्ट होगा, क्या उसमें सैलरी कॉस्ट को ऐड करना पड़ेगा? Of CEO, CFO, common HR, IT and accounts team. अगर मैं सैलरी कॉस्ट इंक्लूड करता हूं और उस पे जीएसटी लगाता हूं, तो मेरी रिसिपिएंट यूनिट को क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा, मुंबई एंड दिल्ली, क्योंकि हम एग्जेम्प्टेड सप्लाईज में हैं. तो क्वेश्चन ये आता है, सैलरी नीड टू बी इंक्लूडेड. वन स्कूल इज सेइंग सैलरी नीड टू बी इंक्लूडेड. I'm of the view, why salary need to be included? Salary is being given to the employee for a company as a whole. Company as a whole. And salary, which is given on account of employment contract, it's out of GST. It is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. In terms of entry 1, schedule 3. Entry 1, schedule 3. So salary cost तो ना तो supply of goods है, ना supply of services है. Why to be included? अगर आप salary cost को include करेंगे, does it not mean that you are including something which is directly not taxable, but you are making indirectly taxable? Something which is directly not taxable. If I include salary cost, does it not mean that we are making it taxable indirectly? And there's subtle jurisprudence that you can't tax something indirectly which is directly not taxable, So to that extent, for exempted supply, it is burning issue as on date. If salary cost included and GST charge, it is going to be more cascading and burning issues. I know that 17-18 and 18-19 annual return and GSTR 9C audit, आपने बहुत 17-18 की GSTR 9C भरी होगी, और ऐसे कई केसेस होंगे जहां पे रिसिपिएंट यूनिट को क्रेडिट मिल सकता था, क्रेडिट मिलता है, बट फिर भी हमने क्रॉस चार्ज का इनवॉइस जनरेट नहीं किया है. आई एम श्योर, क्योंकि एक पार्टिसिपेंट ने जब मुझसे ये पूछा तो मुझे समझ में आ गया कि हो सकता है आपने उसे क्वालिफाई भी नहीं किया हो. तो आप 2 बातें अपने माइंड में नोट कर लीजिए. अगर आपकी कॉमन एचआर टीम, अकाउंट्स टीम, आईटी टीम, सीईओ, सीएफओ जो एचओ में बैठ के आपके ब्रांच को भी संभाल रहे हैं, ब्रांच को भी बिजनेस सपोर्ट देते हैं, उनकी एडवाइजरी उस ब्रांच के ऑपरेशन के लिए भी यूज होती है. दिस इज डीम्ड सप्लाई. सो नॉट क्वेश्चन, आप क्वेश्चन नहीं करेंगे. एंड आई एम ऑफ द व्यू, इन माय हम्बल ओपिनियन, इट इज डीम्ड सप्लाई. क्रॉस चार्ज एग्जिस्ट फॉर वैल्यूएशन, where recipient unit is entitled to avail credit. वहां तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, वहां तो you take any value as a deemed open market value. Only problem lies with the exempted sector, जहां पे मैंने अपना व्यू दिया सैलरी इंक्लूड नहीं करनी चाहिए, because that is not taxable. Why to make it taxable indirectly which is not taxable directly? Come to the third and last component of my topic given to me. Employment contract. Services by employee to the employer in the course of employment. Last topic, because 1 hour is being given to me. I know this topic is the extended one. I'm trying from my side to make it more interesting. So Lakshmi Narayan, yes sir.
I understand sir, बस time constraint के हिसाब से वही मैं आपको बोल रहा था. As it's 5:10, almost 5:10.
मुझे 5 मिनट दे दो रवि जी. एटलीस्ट मैं लास्ट टॉपिक को भी डेलिब्रेट कर दूं, वरना पार्टिसिपेंट्स मेरे कहेंगे सर ये एक टॉपिक छोटा सा रह गया. ओनली 5 मिनट. पार्टिसिपेंट्स, डू यू एग्री? 5 मिनट ले लूं आप लोगों से? कैन आई टेक 5 मिनट? ओके. सो सब कह रहे हैं कि हाँ 5 मिनट ले लूं. रवि जी विथ योर परमिशन मैं 5 मिनट ले लेता हूं. 5 मिनट लेता हूं मैं. देखिए मैंने 5:15 पे स्टार्ट किया था रवि जी ऐसे. मैंने 5:15 पे स्टार्ट किया था, आपने उससे पहले मुझे अलार्म दे दिया है. चलिए ठीक है, 5 मिनट ओनली. Employee to the employer is an employment contract, right? In lieu of entry 1 schedule 3, entry 1 schedule 3, it is neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. No GST. To that extent, it is very clear. Only problem comes when employer is supplying services to the employee. Employer is supplying services to the employee. Whether that is GST leviable. And what could be the services given by employer to the employee? Your free lunch and dinner. A car is being given free of cost. A room is being provided, a flat is being provided free of cost. A lot of perquisite given free of cost. You must take note of it. If this is part and parcel of employment contract, if this is part and parcel of employment contract, listen very carefully, then no GST leviable. So anything, any perquisite which is being provided free of cost in lieu of employment contract, no GST leviable. That is my answer. Please take note of it. And there's one press release which came on 10th July 2017. 10th July 2017. That has categorically said that anything which is part and parcel of employment contract, no GST. So, 2-3 चीजें हम क्विकली करते हैं. टाइम कम है इसलिए क्विकली करते हैं. नोटिस सैलरी, नोटिस पे सैलरी. कई बार क्या होता है, एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय को देता है नोटिस पे सैलरी, और कई बार एम्प्लॉय एम्प्लॉयर को देता है. जीएसटी लगेगा. Whether it is going to fall under para 5E, agreeing to do and not to do of schedule 2. My view, GST not leviable. चाहे एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय को दे, चाहे एम्प्लॉय एम्प्लॉयर को दे. अगर एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय को देता है तो हम एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कह देते हैं. लेकिन जब एम्प्लॉय एम्प्लॉयर को देता है तो क्या एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं था? था. एंड दिस मद्रास हाई कोर्ट जजमेंट in the case of T&D India Limited service tax regime का है, but on same issue that notice salary recovered by employer from employee with a service tax leviable. High Court, Madras High Court said no, it is a part and parcel of employment contract. और एक छोटा सा पार्ट लो. मैंने एक चीज आपको बहुत क्लियर की कि अगर आपने फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट कोई भी परक्विजिट जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का पार्ट है, जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. ब्लैंकेट. इट इज इन माय हम्बल ओपिनियन. ओनली प्रॉब्लम अगर आपने कोई रिकवरी की एंड दैट रिकवरी इज इन एक्सेस, दैट इज नॉट द पार्ट ऑफ योर एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. तो एक एग्जाम्पल लेता हूं जिससे आपको समझ में आ जाए कि आपको अपने एम्प्लॉय को लंच देना था. एज पर फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट कंपल्सरी था. इट वाज ऑब्लिगेटेड. आपने एक आउटडोर कैटरर को इन्वॉल्व किया. आउटडोर कैटरर ने 100 रुपए की थाली आपको दी और आउटडोर कैटरर ने 5% का जीएसटी रेट लगाया. अब आपने क्या किया कि 100 रुपए की थाली थी तो 25 रुपीज आपने एम्प्लॉय से लिए, रिकवर्ड किए, और 75 रुपीज आपने सब्सिडाइज कर दिए एज ए कंपनी. तो 75 रुपीज तो आपने एम्प्लॉयमेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का पार्ट बना दिया और 25 रुपीज जो थे वो आपने रिकवर्ड किए। क्या? पहला क्वेश्चन, एम्प्लॉयर ने एम्प्लॉय को कोई सर्विस दी? दूसरा क्वेश्चन, अगर दी तो किस वैल्यू पे दी? सेम एंट्री टू शेड्यूल 1, सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज बिटवीन रिलेटेड पर्सन। एम्प्लॉयर एंड एम्प्लॉय को रिलेटेड पर्सन माना गया। इन द कोर्स ऑफ फर्दरेंस ऑफ बिजनेस, क्या ये बिजनेस है? बिजनेस की डेफिनेशन आज इतनी वाइड है जीएसटी में, and this matter was put up before Advanced Ruling Authority, Caltech Polymers India Private Limited, Kerala Advanced Ruling थी, and which is being upheld by appellate authority also, and they have said yes, this is a business, it is incidental and ancillary to the business. Whether it is having pecuniary benefit or not, that is not important. It is incidental and ancillary to the overall business. GS, it is supply. First, supply. Second, GST किस पे लगेगा? आपने तो सिर्फ 25 रुपए की रिकवरी की है, तो आपको रूल 28 में जाना पड़ेगा। रूल 28 में सेम जो हमने अभी डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन के लिए डिस्कस किया, ओपन मार्केट वैल्यू, like, kind and quality, 110% of cost of provision. अब जब एम्प्लॉयर 25 रुपए की रिकवरी कर रहा है, इसको डीम सप्लाई मान लिया गया, किस वैल्यू पे लगेगा? 25 पे लगेगा या 100 पे लगेगा? Being like, kind and quality, like, kind and quality, to my mind, then you have to pick up the value as per the like, kind and quality. And you have to charge GST 5%, even though you have recovered 25 rupees. Next question will come, credit मिलेगा कंपनी को जो आउटडोर कैटरर ने 5% चार्ज किया था? अगर आप रेट नोटिफिकेशन में जाएंगे ना और 5% का रेट पिक करेंगे, तो वहां कंडीशन है कि आईटीसी की बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगी। पर आप सेक्शन 17 सबसेक्शन 5 क्लॉज बी में जाइए, सीजीएसटी एक्ट, वो बोलता है इफ इट इज ऑब्लिगेटेड ऑन एम्प्लॉयर टू प्रोवाइड टू द एम्प्लॉई, तो आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा। सो रेट नोटिफिकेशन ना करता है, 17 सबसेक्शन 5 क्लॉज बी आपसे कहता है इफ इट इज ऑब्लिगेटेड क्रेडिट वुड बी अवेलेबल। टू माय माइंड देन क्रेडिट इज अवेलेबल। बट आपके लिए सबसे अच्छा मॉडल क्या होगा? आपको क्या करना चाहिए? फ्री कर दीजिए। 25 रुपीज हम इसलिए लेते हैं कि वी कैन मॉनिटर द सेम। या ये 25 रुपए आप कंपनी लेने की बजाय सीधे कैटरर से कनेक्ट करवा दीजिए, आउटडोर कैटरर से कनेक्ट करवा दीजिए, अपने पास मत रखिए। 75 रुपीज आप दे दीजिए कैटरर को, 25 रुपीज एम्प्लॉय दे देगा। एम आई क्लियर? अब 100 रुपीज पे 75 रुपीज कंपनी ने दिया, आउटडोर कैटरर 5% चार्ज करेगा, मुझे क्रेडिट मिलेगा एज ए कंपनी? बिल्कुल मिलेगा, ऑब्लिगेटेड अंडर फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट। यानी आपने ट्रांजैक्शन में टैक्स प्लानिंग भी कितनी अच्छी तरीके से की। आपने अपनी रिकवरी करने की बजाय एम्प्लॉई से डायरेक्ट दिलवा दिया, और जो आपका आउटडोर कैटरर आपको चार्ज कर रहा था वो 17(5)(b) में बार नहीं होगा, ओनली व्हेन इट इज ऑब्लिगेटेड अंडर एनी लॉ फॉर द टाइम बीइंग इन फोर्स। लेकिन जो सर्विस सेक्टर है वहां फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट का प्रोविजन एप्लीकेबल नहीं होता, तो वहां ये डिस्प्यूट रहेगा कि आपको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा। सो क्रेडिट इज अवेलेबल ओनली व्हेन इट इज ऑब्लिगेटेड अंडर एनी लॉ फॉर द टाइम बीइंग इन फोर्स। मेरे पास टाइम कम है, रवि जी भी बार बार मेरी ओर देख रहे हैं, दो हम जूम पे हैं और दूर बैठे हुए, लेकिन फिर भी उन्होंने कई बार मेरी ओर निगाह डाल दी है कि सर टाइम बहुत हो गया। मैं अपने सारे पार्टिसिपेंट से पूछूंगा, मजा आया? अच्छा लगा आपको? 1 घंटा कुछ ऐसा लगा कि हाँ हमने कुछ अच्छा किया? मजा आया कि हाँ 1 घंटे में हमने वाकई कुछ अच्छा सुना? मैंने आज कोशिश की आपको डिस्टेंस लोकेशन से बैठ के जितना अच्छा कर सकता था मैंने कोशिश की। एट द आउटसेट लेट मी थैंक रायपुर ब्रांच, किशोर जी, रवि जी, ऑल मैनेजिंग कमिटी मेंबर्स फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी, एंड थैंकिंग ईच वन ऑफ यू who are the part of today's deliberation for listening. Bimal Jain, thank you very much.
थैंक यू वेरी मच विमल सर। आपके साथ तो मैं, जैसे शुरू में मैंने कहा कि मुझे